Hello and welcome everyone to our AWD Knowledge Hub monthly webinar. My name is Hannah Ryu and it's a pleasure to have you all here. Today we have a very special guest who will share her insights in artistic swimming and inclusion. So before we begin, I'd like to briefly introduce myself. I'm a member of the Youth and Junior USA Artistic Swimming National Teams, a certified coach, and I'm deeply passionate about advocating for diversity and inclusion within artistic swimming. Here's a quick agenda of what you can expect in today's discussion. Now I'd like to welcome our guest speaker. So Coach Jackie is a 3-time Olympian and world champion in artistic swimming. Beyond her athletic achievements, she's dedicated to building a more inclusive world through the sport, and she's currently pursuing her doctorate in podiatric medicine at University du Quebec. Sorry, I'm not sure how to pronounce it, but and she also chairs the World Aquatics Athletics Commission and serves on the World Aquatics Executive Bureau. She's also the founder of Aqua Unity, a global initiative advancing adaptive artistic swimming, and her mission to power young athletes of all abilities and promote the IOC values of excellence, inclusivity, and global unity perfectly captures the spirit of tonight's discussion. So Coach Jackie, before we dive in, would you like to briefly introduce yourself and share a bit about what connected you to the mission of inclusion in sport?
Absolutely. Thanks, Hannah, and good act on the French there for Université du Québec. I know it's a hard one to say sometimes with an accent, but you did great. Hello, everybody. Welcome. I'm absolutely delighted to be here this evening. I see that we have people from spread out all over the world, so thank you for whatever time you are joining, whether it's morning, evening, middle of the night. Thank you for being here this evening. I'm really glad to have been invited on the AWD Knowledge monthly webinar. I think this is an absolutely fantastic initiative, and I think the more that we pull in all of our resources together, the more we can make some change and actually make some waves and advance not only artistic swimming, but also adaptive artistic swimming, which is something that I hold very near and dear to my heart. So I think, from my understanding this evening, it'll be more of a discussion format between Hannah and myself, and there'll be some time for questions at the end. So don't hesitate to reach out, write them in the question box, and we'll definitely be sure to answer them at the end of the call.
Thank you so much for your introduction. We can start by talking a little bit about where it all began, the story of Aqua Unity. So what inspired you to create Aqua Unity, and what vision guided those first steps?
Absolutely. So back in 2000 during COVID, truly, the IOC, which stands for the International Olympic Committee, has a program called IOC Young Leaders, where a group of 25 individuals are selected from around the world, and individuals under the age of 28. And it's a very competitive process for the selection process. And essentially, they choose 25 individuals who are passionate about sport, evidently, but using sport as a vehicle to making the world a little bit better, and that also align with the UN's, United Nations Sustainable Development Goals. And I've always been passionate about artistic swimming. I've been having a huge passion about medicine and health, and truly about inclusivity throughout our sport too. I think we've seen our sport typically cater to females of typical ages, and then we see a dropout typically around adolescence when people start to get into college. And so addressing, first of all, keeping young females in sport healthy and active is something that I care about, but also making the sport a little bit more inclusive. Our sport is not like swimming, for instance. It's not included in the Special Olympics. It's not included in the Paralympics. And I think it's definitely possible to be included one day. And so I think this is definitely an avenue that people are working towards. And I think this platform, for me, essentially, is just to align everybody, to bring everybody on the same page, so that there's one collective voice from the artistic swimming community pushing to move our sport and grow it forward. So essentially, this all started throughout COVID, when a friend of mine got into the application process, and I figured, you know what, why not? Of all the thousands of applicants out there in all the world, why don't I try? And I eventually got in. I got the support from the International Olympic Committee, and so the first couple of years, it's mostly just a learning process. It's a huge onboarding process, learning more about the International Olympic Committee, their bylaws, their policies, and then now I'm more into the ideation phase and trying to slowly make this pilot project something a little bit grandiose and bring it onto the world scale. And so we've done that in small steps, but hopefully in the next couple of months and even years, we'll be able to elevate this process and actually see some change happen in our sport.
Yeah, that's definitely a really powerful beginning. It's super clear that purpose has been at the core from the start. Could you also tell us a little bit more about how Aqua Unity empowers athletes of all abilities through collaboration, accessibility, and creativity, as you were talking about?
Absolutely. So typically in artistic swimming camps in the past, and it stems from something that's very rudimental from typically when you register a child for a sporting camp, you have name, age, usually you just have gender, male, female, and you don't really have any additional sort of registration form for people with various abilities. And I think it's very important to include people with special needs, people with disabilities, to be included in these sort of camps and to have a program for them as well, and not just to exclude them and put them off on the side. And this is something that struck me from one of the very first synchronized swimming, back when the sport was actually called synchro, camps that I gave many, many years ago, when across the pool there was a lesson going on. There was a child in a wheelchair, and they asked why they couldn't be a part of the swimming lesson, and the lifeguard didn't quite have an answer. And since then, that's really what struck home with me in terms of making these camps more inclusive and more accessible. Yes, our sport is female dominated. Why not try and include the male gender? But at the same time, why are we excluding a whole other population out there who is definitely able to swim and has various abilities and different realms of expertise and different sides of the sport that they could bring to it and elevate it even more? So why not open up artistic swimming camps and the sport to everybody?
Yeah, definitely. I think those strategies really show what inclusion looks like in practice. And based on your experiences working with Aqua Unity for the first few years, could you share a story or an example of some of the early camps or local programs that really showcases its impact?
Absolutely. So I've done a couple of camps over the years, and some are very different than others. But one thing that I've started to do with this program is mentorship. Whether it be with able-bodied athletes, pairing up people who somebody is a little bit more experienced in the sport and pairing them with a young adolescent who strives to go a little bit further in sport, or even if it's through education and academia, but just somebody who they keep and mentoring. And the idea of mentorship throughout the AWD community grew in the past 2 to 3 years, where adaptive artistic swimming did not exist in Africa whatsoever. It started in Egypt around 2.5, 3 years ago when I was mentoring one of my dear friends, Nadine Winsam, from Egypt. And she had this wonderful idea to start adaptive artistic swimming in her swimming club. And so it was quite the process, a couple of calls back and forth, and essentially she got the green light from her club but didn't know where to start. And so I know there's a bunch of resources that are out there, but sometimes it's hard to find out where to go to when you're trying to create these sort of programs. And so having a mentorship program, connecting her with people who have gone through similar experiences, sharing my own personal experience of working with athletes with different abilities, and creating a training plan, and knowing that this training plan differs from one athlete to the next. And so you could start with one athlete and have one specific objective for that athlete, but there's no right answer. There's no specific training goal that needs to really. You need to look at the sport in a different lens when you work with the AWD community. I think that's what's beautiful about it, is that everybody comes into the sport and everybody will have different objectives and different ways of understanding how to do the sport and understanding how to complete different movements. And that's the fun part, that's the challenging part, and how to work with these different populations from across the world too. So it's been a fun ride so far. And I think going back to your question, Hannah, in terms of concrete examples, I think through mentorship and finding the right resources is one example where Aqua Unity has started to make its mark.
Yeah, I think mentorship and empowerment through mentorship is definitely a really important part, and I think it also connects beautifully to the next section we'll talk about, which is the broader vision of Aqua Unity. So now that we've heard a bit about how Aqua Unity began, maybe we could talk more about the vision that drives it forward, what keeps the movement growing and connected. So I was wondering if you could share a little bit about how ensuring everyone can experience the joy, health, and empowerment of sport and how you personally define those words in the context of inclusion.
Absolutely. And so I think that this goal is something that we strive towards, regardless in whatever camp that we take part in. And it's a fluid goal, meaning that, in one camp, inclusion and empowerment of sport can mean one thing in one camp, and it could look differently in another camp, because it depends on what continent you're in, there's language barriers, communication barriers, there's different physical abilities that come to each camp. And I think the fun challenge about this goal is to make it inclusive for everybody. So not just excluding, okay, you have this ability, you're in this group, and you're completely separate. It's really about that partnership. And so pairing AWD athletes with an able-bodied athletes of different age ranges, youth to junior to senior, and workshops too. It's not just all about being in the pool. Our sport teaches us so much outside of the pool as well. Communication, work ethic, teamwork, resilience, all of these things that we could sit around a table and discuss, concrete ways that our sport gives us skills, and they could translate outside of the pool at the same time. Time management skills as well. This is a sport, regardless of your ability, it does take up a great deal of time in one's schedule. How does one manage their schedule if they're going to school, if they're volunteering, if they're still trying to have an active family and social life? How do we manage this? Well, through time managed workshops, we give them different tools of how they can manage their time and most efficiently. So just making it the most inclusive as possible. So for instance, we did have some athletes who actually had a visual impairment, so making sure that they were included in these workshops, even throughout in the water workshops, having them paired with somebody who were able to make them feel comfortable, and who actually understood as well. It wasn't just following along, but making sure every time that we had staff members with them, and that they felt comfortable, they felt welcomed. So that's just a quick example, I guess, of how we make our goal and mission and vision into life. And it's something that's continuously evolving, depending on who we're working with at the given time.
That really captures the heart of your mission and the mission of Aqua Unity. And it's definitely so powerful to see how inclusion can cross abilities and borders as well. I was also wondering, under your mission, you highlight accessibility, inclusivity, and inspiration. And I know we talked about this briefly in the previous slide, but could you share what some of your key strategies have been for making aquatic sports genuinely accessible to athletes of all abilities?
Absolutely. So a lot of barriers, and it's different every continent that I've been to so far. Well, you could take South Africa, for instance. Making aquatic sports accessible is an issue. In a country where power is shut off infrequently from day to day, and that has a great toll on our facilities. A pool needs a constant pump to be able to function, to heat the pool, to be able to have the chlorine go through and make it swimmable and healthy enough for athletes to go in. Making aquatic sports accessible is a challenge there, just because of the situation that's going on in the country. So finding grants for these athletes. World Aquatics has some grants for some athletes, notably the IOC as well, and the UN, to be able to overcome some of these barriers and to make aquatic sports more accessible. Because it's great to have youth and AWD athletes want to take part in aquatic sports, but if they don't have the facilities, it would be very difficult for them to have access to it. So I think just, first of all, facilities is the number one barrier for many places. Two, financial barriers. If we're looking more into LATAM and South America, at times it is a financial commitment. Looking at pool time, looking at coaches. Oftentimes you're looking at more personalized coaching, more one-on-one. It is a financial barrier, so making it more accessible, and hopefully throughout Aqua Unity, we're looking in the next 3 to 5 years to have grants available for AWD athletes as well as athletes in specific circumstances to be able to empower them and be able to have the financial means to be able to pursue the sport that they love. So those are just two obstacles right now that I'm just looking at in different lenses and different continents, and how can we tackle this in making aquatic sports more accessible. There's many more, but I don't want to bore you with that this evening, but essentially those are just two of the main barriers. For those of you who are on the call, hopefully you have access to a pool that's there full time, and hopefully you have some financial means to be able to access a coach and the facilities that you have, and I'm sure you have many other barriers as well too. Yeah, that's essentially two that we're tackling at the moment.
I think those factors are definitely often overlooked, but are essential for a successful program. And Aqua Unity's vision also talks about uniting communities across cultures and continents. Would you tell us a little bit about how you've seen that global connection take place through your program or through the partnerships?
Absolutely. Uniting communities. It's funny, so I mentioned different communities and different continents having different challenges, yet there's still many similarities that bring these communities together. The passion and the love that they have for aquatic sports and artistic swimming, and despite their various abilities, still wanting to overcome these obstacles and reach their fullest potential. And so our vision and what we've slowly started to do is essentially that through that mentorship program, and eventually we'd like to have some AWD champions there out from different continents to be able to just, pardon me, inspire the next generation, to inspire AWD athletes to kickstart into artistic swimming. At the moment, and Hannah, you could probably speak to this yourself as well, if I'm not mistaken from the data that you shared with me, it's around 25 countries that we have so far that are taking part in AWD, so adaptive artistic swimming. And to be able to reach the Paralympics, we need a minimum of 32, and if not many more, with hundreds, if not thousands of athletes to be able to just be considered a Paralympic sport. And so throughout word of mouth, throughout visibility, throughout mentorship programs, throughout champions programs, this is how we're going to make our sport grow altogether. And we need that through champions, people who are on this call at the moment, people who are following the AWD Knowledge Hub. We need champions to be able to go out there and be able to promote this, to make it grow globally and exponentially.
We definitely have some ways to go before reaching the goal of Paralympics, but hopefully we can get there soon someday. And on that note, maybe we can talk about how these values are being built into real programs around the world. So we've explored Aqua Unity's vision, and we can now explore how that vision comes to life through real programs that make inclusion possible around the world. So I was wondering, for clubs or federations that want to start or strengthen adaptive programs, what are some practical first steps that you would recommend for them?
Absolutely. So for programs that already exist, tap yourself on the shoulder. Kudos. It's lovely that you have an AWD program. There's always room for improvement. There's never a perfect 10. Yes, there is technically in our sport, but there's always room to reach higher. And so I'm a big advocate on listening to your stakeholders. And our stakeholders are our athletes, our coaches, our judges, our mentors, people who are involved in this sport. And so people who are already involved in your AWD program, your artistic swimming program, I'm a big believer in collecting those opinions, those values, and what they think they can do to improve better. What would they like more? What would they like to start doing? What they'd like to stop doing and keep on doing? What's been working well? So if you already have a program running, I think that's a great place to start. If you don't already have an AWD program running, I think a great place to start is the AWD Knowledge Hub. Reaching out to people such as Hannah, who could perhaps direct you into other clubs who already have programs running. And this is, I think, the beauty of our community. Everybody seems to be very open and welcoming and friendly and sharing their best knowledge. So there's many resources that are out there, which is the beautiful part. And we're seeing hearts here on the community, which is absolutely wonderful, because everybody does have such a big and wonderful, warm heart in the artistic swimming community, and we're all open to share. So if you don't already have an AWD artistic swimming program lined up, that's okay. Even if you don't have a proper size swimming pool and you don't know where to start, people are there to help. We want to make this grow even further. And this just helps. It all starts by somebody just reaching out and wanting to start something.
Yeah, those are really concrete and helpful insights. The AWD community, as you mentioned, is definitely very welcoming and willing to share their expertise. So yeah, don't be afraid to reach out if you have any questions. And when it comes to coaching and training athletes with different abilities, what adjustments or approaches have you found made the biggest difference?
Yeah, fantastic question. And I think there's no perfect answer for this. I don't know, for Hannah, yourself, if you had hands-on experience working with AWD athletes, but every athlete and every individual is different and special in their own way. And that's what I love about this sport, because there's so many different components to it. There are some athletes that go out there, you put them in the water, you throw some music on, and they're just loving it. And you need to add some more structure to this, right, to make it more routine so that they're able to go out there and compete. And so tackling away and trying to figure out, okay, I need you throughout this song here to complete X, Y, and Z movements so that they can actually be considered a routine and be judged, and going to tackle, okay, how to teach these movements. Completely different challenges on its own, and this is something that I've had fun tackling with one of my colleagues, Nadine Wissam from Egypt. And one thing that we found quite helpful is partnering up with parents and teachers and anybody who is in the entourage of the AWD athlete, and asking, okay, in everyday life, how do you get this athlete to complete this task? What kind of approach do you take? And so already trying to mimic that when you're an athlete-coach type of relationship, and giving an approach that the athlete is familiar with already, gives you a huge step up. So familiarizing yourself with the athlete entourage is one. And two, not getting frustrated. It's okay if, from one day to the next, your athlete doesn't remember the choreography or the routine or how to do a certain movement. That's okay. It's just giving yourself grace, giving the athlete grace, and lots of patience. And lastly, and I think this point sometimes doesn't hit home until you actually try it yourself, and I'm sure many people do this already, but don't hesitate to get in there with the athlete yourself and show them. A lot of people are very visual learners, and when it comes to the AWD population, even if you get some sort of hands-on physical contact, when you get that proprioception, sometimes their proprioception is not quite there in terms of the sport. So just being able to be in the water with them, give them that guidance, and even just demonstrate sometimes, even if it's not perfect, just to be able to give them that feedback and that help. So those are 3 little tips and tricks that I would say have helped quite a bit recently. And I'm sure many of you on the call are quite experienced and already know what works best for you as well.
Yeah, I think that's a key message that we've heard from a lot of our guest speakers throughout our series. Trial and error, adaptability, and also listening to athletes and their support system are all really helpful and important strategies for a successful program. And aside from creating effective training methods, environment is also a really important aspect of sport. So I was wondering, from your experience, what are some best practices for creating safe, inclusive, and welcoming environments where athletes can thrive?
Yeah, absolutely. In terms of making it a safe environment, that's something that we always try, myself, but also Nadine, my partner in Egypt, to create this environment that's welcoming from the get-go. You want to make the athletes feel comfortable, and if they don't feel comfortable going in the water on day one, that's okay. If you want to spend the whole training session just on land, that's okay too. You want to make them feel comfortable. Essentially, we're all here to have fun, to be the best that we could possibly be in our sport. And the beauty is that our sport, there's so many different ways that we could work on it. And if there's one day that you're just not feeling it and not feeling like going in the water, that's okay. We could do visualization work on land. We could do core training, flexibility training. We could work on artistic impression off land too. Anything that makes the athletes more comfortable, because the next day sometimes maybe they'll feel more comfortable and they'll be able to do all of that you worked on land in the water. And so just creating that open dialogue between coach and athlete and parent and entourage that's there with the athlete, and also not being afraid to asking about their everyday life too. I think sometimes we're just so focused on our training, the task at hand, and today, okay, our objective is to get this movement nailed down. Be flexible with that objective. Ask them, how's your day going? How's your week going? Because sometimes their week could be going great, and sometimes not so great. And you could spend half that session just talking about how their week went, and that's okay. You're creating that rapport with that athlete. You're creating trust and confidence with them, so that the more you move on, the more you work with this athlete, the better bond that you create with them, and hopefully the more magic you could create along the way.
That's a really great reminder about how important personal connection is, and also baby steps are not only okay but also a really effective training method in itself sometimes. So now I think we could talk a little bit more about the real world impact, the athletes, communities, and partnerships that bring these ideas to life. Could you share with us some real world examples of how Aqua Unity has helped athletes build confidence, connection, and growth through these adaptive programs?
Absolutely. So I've mentioned a lot one of my colleagues, Nadine Wissam from Egypt, absolutely wonderful colleague, somebody who I've mentored, initially competed against and then mentored, and then she wanted to pilot a project with adaptive artistic swimming in Egypt. And so I love to use her as an example because she really went from absolutely nothing to now having a scalable program and eventually sending athletes off into competition. And this simply just happened with a shared idea and then creating something from nothing, essentially. And this just goes to show that within a matter of months, you can create an AWD program within your community. If you have the needs, you have the athletes who are willing, and you have, of course, there's the political side of things too. You have your club that's there, you have the approval from the board of directors. Once you have all of those green lights, anything is possible. The world is your oyster, and there's many partnerships out there. You have global partnerships down here, but you have Aqua Unity within the IOC Young Leaders program, World Aquatics as well, that have partnerships. There's the AWD Knowledge Hub as well. There are so many resources out there and people who have done it before too. So mentorship is incredibly important throughout all of this. I can't really emphasize that enough, but truly, if some of you on this call do not already have an AWD program and you have athletes who want to try the sport, even if it's just a trial and error, don't hesitate to reach out to other people who have done it before, because the impact that you could potentially have within your community can be absolutely amazing.
This story is such a powerful reminder of how you don't need much to start a program. You've heard so many different athletes' voices through Aqua Unity's workshops and training sessions. What are some of the most memorable testimonials or stories that stand out to you from the athletes?
Oh gosh, where does really? One of the most memorable ones was this, to keep it anonymous, I come from a medical background, so we want to not be able to share information. I didn't quite ask for consent before sharing the story, but essentially an athlete with CP, though cerebral palsy, didn't quite think that she'd be able to go upside down and do this said movement. And I came in, I was only there for a short period of time, and she was already very comfortable in the water, but never really went upside down before, never really, the lifeguards there, and didn't really have a program, didn't really know where to start. And so essentially with a couple hours that I had with her, I was showing her these moves, and she just loved it. We put the music on, and essentially with that tactile information of kind of showing her how to flip upside down, being comfortable, in an environment that's completely new to her when you're flipped upside down, absolutely loved it. And she was just in tears afterwards, in disbelief that she never thought she'd be able to do it. One, holding her breath, and two, just being upside down. And then from there, I've gotten numerous videos of this athlete now excelling, learning new movements week by week. So that's just been honestly, truly one of my favorite stories to date. And it's neat to stay in contact with these athletes as well too.
Yeah, it's so amazing to hear how confidence and connection can spread so naturally when the right methods are used for the athletes. And lastly, for this slide, the slide mentions the ripple effect of inclusion. How do you see Aqua Unity's approach enriching not only athletes with disabilities, but also just the broader artistic swimming community as a whole?
I think inclusion definitely does have a ripple effect. You have a friend that's taking part in an artistic swimming workshop or a program, and you talk to your friends about it, and that's where the ripple effect kind of starts. You talk to one friend, and that friend's like, oh, that's pretty neat, where'd you learn that? And you bring in your friend, and it's really by word of mouth. And same thing with the AWD community. who may take part in other physical activities and then have an interaction with somebody else and say, oh, hey, I really love being in the water and trying artistic swimming, and bring other people in. And this is how the community just grows through that. I think that's the ripple effect that we're aiming to have, and just make it grow exponentially and hopefully just enough to be a contender one day for a Paralympic sport.
Definitely, I think it's a really positive ripple effect that is helping point us to the future of the sport and AWD artistic swimming as well. Now, as we wrap up the story of what Aqua Unity has built so far, let's take a moment to look forward at what's next for the movement and for the future of inclusion in artistic swimming. Aqua Unity has already collaborated with so many federations, coaches, and athletes worldwide. What does international collaboration look like in practice, and how do you keep that network connected from your experiences?
So international collaboration, it could be just as simple as a mentorship program. It could be simple as going in for a workshop virtually or in person, and just helping some programs get kickstarted. Some programs are more developed than the other. I come from Canada, and truly I haven't worked very much with Canada because I'm impressed when I see different provinces, programs, competitions set up. It's incredible to see, and then I had the opportunity to travel to other countries and see that it's not as developed as my home country, and that's what I aspire every country internationally to do, is that they have regional competition, provincial and national competitions already set up, and so they don't have to travel and spend so much money going out and competing in an international competition just so that they can have a couple of other competitors. So making the AWD community grow on an international scale, locally first throughout different continents, and then eventually globally, to be able to make it a Special Olympic and Paralympic sport contender. And to be able to do that, I think data is our friend. And so I think this, Hannah, you'll probably allude to that in the coming minutes and coming slides, but it's important to track how many athletes are in the sport, how many athletes are active, how many coaches and judges, anybody who is within this community, because there's strength in numbers. If we look at ourselves compared to other countries or other sports that are also trying to be contending Paralympic sports, they have this data already compiled into one place. And right now I think the AWD community is fantastic. We're all kind of spread out doing our own thing, all great things. But let's gather that data and bring it all together into one hub so that when the time comes and when we reach our 32 countries, we reach that green light to be able to become a contender for a Paralympic sport and Special Olympic sport, we have that data to back us up. Not just because we have some numbers, but we have strength in numbers. We have hundreds of athletes, hopefully at this point, competing on a national level, thousands competing on an international level, and this way we will make some waves and make our voices heard when the time comes.
I'll be sharing the link to the survey in the coming slides, but while we're on this topic, could you also tell us a little bit about Aqua Unity's role in the global push for Paralympic recognition in artistic swimming, and aside from filling out the survey, some other ways that everyone joining us tonight can get involved in supporting Aqua Unity's mission going forward?
Absolutely. Thanks, Hannah. So essentially at the end of this webinar, and I think we'll be sharing it throughout social media following this call as well too, is that we'd like to gather just some initial data on how many athletes you're working with. If you're an athlete yourself, how long have you been swimming for? Any sort of data that we could collect, where you're from geographically, because it's great to have representation in Europe and in North America, but we can't be a Special Olympic and Paralympic contending sport if we only have little divots of representation here. So once we collect all this data, it'd be neat to be able to have what I'd like to call champions clubs. So people who are already running things by example. If we take France, if we take Quebec, if we take Canada, for instance, by example, and we'd like to be able to eventually one day become a contender for a Paralympic sport, in Australia and Egypt and South Africa are looking to create said programs. We have these programs to mimic from, so something from a mirror So collecting data, identifying where the successful countries, where the successful clubs, where are we lacking athletes, where are we lacking clubs and resources, and to be able to gather this data to identify, okay, where are the holes and how can we fill them up with the resources that we have at the given time. So this is essentially what the survey will be initially, and this data will be shared with the IOC Young Leaders program. And so the International Olympic Committee works very closely with the International Paralympic Committee as well. So this data will be presented throughout the IOC Young Leaders program and, if necessary, through different channels globally as well.
And on that note, to close today's session, we'd love to highlight this new initiative that everyone can take a part in, the Global Participation Survey. So the survey, again, as it's already been mentioned, but it's a part of Aqua Unity's effort to gather information from clubs, coaches, and athletes around the world. And the goal is to help bring adaptive artistic swimming closer to Paralympic and Special Olympics inclusion. So by sharing your club or program information, you'll be helping us map adaptive and inclusive artistic swimming around the world, and help us identify where programs already exist and where new opportunities can grow. So to participate, you can just scan the QR code on the screen, and you can share your name, country, city, the number of athletes you work with, and your role, whether you're a coach, athlete, volunteer, or club leader. So I'll just stay on this slide for a few minutes to let everyone scan the QR code, but as we wait, feel free to drop questions in the chat as well, and we can start our Q&A session.
Hello, do you hear me?
Yes, yeah. We can hear you.
Hello, Jacqueline. I'm from France. We have seen you in Mont-Solemin in 2024. Yeah, we are not on the artistic from France. So I heard that you have a big program in Canada, and that you work with Egypt. This year in France, last week, we have made a national meeting for AWD athletes. We have 29 athletes from 12 clubs in France who come to Marseille. And this week we have, for the first time, the head of the federation, the French Federation. We have a representative of the French Federation who are here all along the competition. So it's a big step. And I think you have some contact in World Aquatic. And the problem for France is that they don't want to start to officially recognize, to officially see AWD in artistic swimming, because World Aquatic don't do nothing for French Federation. World Aquatic must do something, and after the French Federation would make something. Could you think that World Aquatic can speak to all the federation all over the world to say that the AWD program is very interesting, and that they can make some addition to competition to accept AWD, and to make some special rules for AWD in all the program, because in France we have some exception for local competition, but not national, and we have big problems with this, because in France, when we have club in a country, in a city, the club can have money for AWD training, because they are not officially by the federation. So everything is turning around, turning, because you're not official, so no money, so no place, so no official, so no money, no place. It's very, very difficult. And if you can. I don't know. I have seen that you have a lot of contact with World Aquatic. So I don't know if you can make something and say that all the federation must do, national federation must do something for AWD reconnaissance. It will be a great thing.
Absolutely. Bonjour Sandra, et merci beaucoup pour la question. I'll continue in English just so that everybody else can understand as well. First off, thank you for sharing your challenges and everything that you've been through, and I think France is also a fabulous example of how AWD community has expanded throughout France, but I definitely hear you when it comes to the challenges, and it's that resolving circle of there's local funding, there's no federation funding, and so this issue is not only on a national France level, it's also expanded worldwide. Argentina, Canada is having similar issues as well too. And so from my understanding, for international federations such as World Aquatics to recognize adaptive artistic swimming, there needs to be global representation. And right now, despite having numerous clubs and spotty representation, we need to be able to have more athletes, more clubs to be able to even have the sport recognized by an international federation. So hopefully by collecting more data and then from this trickling down, creating some waves and creating AWD programs globally, we'll be able to make some noise to have international federations be able to then recognize this as a sport and then continue with these steps and then proceed. So it is, I envision it being a long road, but a long road ahead that's worthwhile in terms of pursuing. Unfortunately, I don't think there's a magic answer for the short term, but I hope, and I'm just throwing numbers out here, but 3 to 5 years that we have enough global representation that we have a fighting argument to make it recognized. I hope that answers your question.
I think it's all the problem. World Aquatics said that they need to have data to recognize, and the federation need to have the green light of World Aquatic to recognize. So if everybody say it's me, it's not me, it's me, it will be very difficult.
I'm so sorry, my Wi-Fi has cut off. I'm not in Canada at the moment, so my apologies. I missed all that part there. I don't know if Hannah or Sandra, you'd like to continue. Je m'excuse.
Pas de souci. I said that the French Federation say we don't move because World Aquatic don't say nothing. And World Aquatic say they don't move because we don't have data. But not to do everything, but if World Aquatic only said that they recognize, not officially, but they said that the program it's a good thing at all the federation would say, I have somebody. So I think they are nobody won't start, and I think that if World Aquatic say give us your AWD athletes or your AWD data, and we would make something with it, not officially, but they can show interest in AWD, just interest. I think the federation won't be so cold to go. Maybe.
Absolutely. I think this is something that could be definitely brought up. I know that they have other initiatives in terms of making sport more inclusive, and this is definitely an avenue I believe that's worth exploring. So thank you for mentioning that, and I think it's something that we'll continue to work on, yes, on the data side, but yes, just simply acknowledging and encouraging this movement. So I couldn't agree more.
And I have a question in the blog. We are organizing a training course for coach in July 26. with AWD athlete. I think it will be a good thing if you can share the Canada experience with a coach who say maybe I can accept some AWD athlete, maybe in a video conference. So can I have your mail contact to keep in contact and exchange about that?
Absolutely, I could send you that right now via personal chat. I'd be delighted if it works for them to schedule.
Yeah, thanks a lot.
A pleasure.
If no one else has any other questions, I had one question to just close off our webinar for today. I was wondering if there's anything that our audience and we can look forward to in the next year or even the next 5 to 10 years of your work with Aqua Unity.
Yes. Where to start? In terms of the AWD community, what to look out for, I think there's already numerous programs out there doing great things. I think Aqua Unity aims to be a central hub for all this to take place. It doesn't want to replace any programs that are already out there. It wants to gather knowledge, gather data and information for that when the time comes, when we do become an I'm very sorry, je suis vraiment désolée du Wi-Fi, very sorry. I don't know how much you gathered, but essentially long-term being that collective voice towards a Special Olympic and Paralympic movement, and short-term Aqua Unity making waves in a more regional, local, but also global scale too, as to where needs are met, and really filling in those gaps to be able to make the AWD artistic swimming community a fighting sport towards Paralympic representation. And so you will see us in spaces where artistic swimming has not been seen before, whether it be LATAM, Caribbean, Australia, New Zealand, places where we don't typically see artistic swimming. This is where we want our sport represented, so that we could have a global aspect and really have equal representation throughout the globe, to make sure that we are a sport and we have individuals from across the world that want to fight for this common goal of having our sport included.
Yeah, we're wishing you all the best for this next upcoming year, and we'll all cheer for you and your program as you work towards them. So those are all the questions that we received for today, but thank you for sharing the powerful strategies and insights with us. And just before we move on from this slide again, although it's not required, we would really appreciate it if you can fill out this survey and share it with anyone else that you know in the AWD community. And finally, we've been so lucky to welcome so many amazing guests throughout this year's AWD Monthly series, from coaches and athletes to global advocates for inclusion. And as we wrap up the 2025 series, thank you to everyone who's joined, learned, and shared along the way. And stay tuned, we'll be back again next year with something new and exciting for the AWD community. So thank you so much again, everyone, for joining, and we hope to see you again next year.
Thanks so much, Hannah.
Thank you for coming.
Thank you very much. Merci beaucoup.
Thank you,
Merci
Anna.
beaucoup,
Thank you.
Ethan.
Merci beaucoup.
Merci, au revoir.
À très bientôt.
Au revoir.
Thank you so
À
much.
bientôt.
Bientôt.